You might ask yourself why I'm reviewing this album and not any other album, because there's even far more interesting Bowie albums to review. But the reason for this is the beginning of a new project where I listen to every album by my 5 favorite artists, which are Queen, Pink Floyd, David Bowie, Radiohead, and Swans, in chronological order. I plan to re-listen to each album and to create a short, track-by-track review for each album. Given that it's based around my 5 favorite artists, I call it the Big Five Project. I think David Bowie's debut album is far from the best introduction to him as an artist, and it barely represents what his music is all about. I think the music on this album is okay, but it's definitely one of his weaker albums. The album starts with the track Uncle Arthur, where I think that the singing on the track is somewhat rough. Also, I don't like the claps in the verses. The lyrics aren't that interesting either, but this applies to pretty much every song on here, so yeah. I do, however, like the chorus of the song, which is why I would give it a low 6 out of 10. At number 2 we have Sell Me a Coat, where I'd say the instrumental is nice, but nothing really special. The biggest problem I have with the song is that it attempts to do this kind of dreamy intro and outro, but does not really do a great job at it, which is why I'm feeling a 6 out of 10 on this song. As the third track, we have Rubber Band, a song that is kinda overdramatic, but in a way that makes it kinda sweet. And I'd say for this reason, I would call it my favorite song on the album, which is why I give it a high 6 out of 10. The following track is called Love You Till Tuesday, where the singing is pretty weird. I think that it's kind of cheesy, a bit too cheesy. The same can be said about the instrumental, especially in the chorus. I think it just sounds like it came from some old commercial, which is why I'd give the song like a low 5 out of 10. Track number 5 is There Is a Happy Land, where Bowie's singing sounds very monotonous in my opinion. I like the piano part of the song, and the rest of the instrumentation is fine, but it's nothing special. I'd probably call it the most boring song so far and give it a high 4. This is followed by We Are Hungry Men, which is slightly more energetic than the rest of the album, and it deals with the topic of overpopulation, which is kinda strange. Most of the track is fine, but I think there are two things that could be removed. First, the spoken part in the middle, and secondly, the eating noises at the end. I have no idea what they are doing here. This song is a low 5 in my opinion. Track number 7 is When I Live My Dream. In the beginning there are some issues with the vocals, which get better towards the end though. With the track progressing it gets a bit better and I think everything is fine, but it's nothing too special. I must admit though that the instrumental and the lyrics are kind of sweet, which is why I'd give the song a 5 out of 10. Track number 8 is Come and Buy My Toys. It's an acoustic guitar based track that does not really have a lot to be said about it. If I had to comment on anything, I'd say that the guitar is a bit too quiet in the mix, but again, it's nothing that has a lot to be said about. It's a 5 out of 10, solid 5. Then we get to the infamous Join the Gang. If I had to pick a least favorite song on here, it would be this one. I think both the sitar opening and the ending with the buzzing and the eating noises just don't fit at all. I think the singing is very weird and the song just feels very chaotic overall. I would give it a low 4. Track number 10 is called She's Got Medals. I'm not exactly sure, but I think this song is about a trans person going to war and dying there. If that is true, the song is kind of progressive lyrically, which is adorable. I also kind of like the spoken verses, but the instrumental could easily be improved. Also, it has some more annoying clap sounds. This song is still like a low 6 out of 10. I could find some elements in the song that I liked. The second to last track is Made of Bond Street. With a duration of only about 1.5 to 2 minutes, this is the shortest track in the album, but it really doesn't matter. I think the song has a fine instrumental, but the singing could definitely be improved. What I do like about the song is how it builds up towards the end. Not very special track. It's another 5 out of 10. And the final track, Please Mr. Gravedigger, which does not really feel like a song, it feels more like a skit. And that's because there are no instruments, but there are rain sound effects and some bell sounds in the background. And I'd say as a skit, it's fine. I don't really see what it's doing on the album, but yeah, on its own, it's fine. Only weird thing about this is the sneezing sounds. I don't really think there's a reason for them here, which is why I'd give the track a 4 out of 10. And overall, I think that Bowie had a sort of rough start to his career. There is still a lot to improve here. I think his singing abilities here are far from what they will be later. Also, most of the lyrical topics and instrumental choices are not nearly as interesting as in other albums later down the road. Which is why, overall, I would give this album a solid 5 out of 10. Here you can see my track ranking. Please like and subscribe if you want to see more reviews like this. I really want to upload more of these reviews, so I would really enjoy seeing your support. Thanks!